Hey guys, it's Sydney at Treadmill Review Guru. Today we're checking out the Vitruvian Trainer Plus. The Vitruvian essentially replaces a weight room filled with strength training equipment by giving you the ability to perform hundreds of different exercises on this small platform. Now let's jump in and see how it works and what our team thinks of it. So smart home gyms literally come in all shapes and sizes, even as compact as this one. So the Vitruvian is a platform with cables for you to do all kinds of weighted exercises. And like other smart home gyms and fitness mirrors, the Vitruvian, of course, has an app for training content and features. I'll get into this in a moment, but first I want to talk about the construction and the physical components of what you get with the Vitruvian. So a little bit about me. I live in a 4th-story apartment with no elevator. With how small the Vitruvian is, I was actually able to take it home for the past few months and use it. And I can't do that with much of the equipment that we get in for testing. I think the appeal is its size and what it's actually capable of letting you do. Its footprint is roughly 46 inches long, 20 inches wide, and only 4.5 inches high. And since you stand on the Vitruvian for most of the exercises, it really doesn't take up much space. I recommend around maybe like a 6 by 6 foot area, but I was actually able to use it in my bedroom with around 4 to 5 feet of space. I would end up putting the Vitruvian on my yoga mat, and I found that the Vitruvian kind of takes up the same space as, I'm doing things like yoga or stretching or lifting dumbbells. So this is a huge plus. And another huge plus is that it only weighs 80 pounds. It has handles that are underneath on either side, and then it has 2 transportation wheels so you can tilt it up and be able to wheel it around. And this is really a game changer. Strength equipment can weigh hundreds of pounds, and even other smart home gyms and workout mirrors weigh a lot more and take up a lot more room than the Vitruvian. It also is a freestanding platform, so you can use it just about anywhere. It's just as long as you have a plug, since it requires to be plugged in. But it doesn't require to be mounted like onto a wall or anything like the tonal. And the best part is that when you're done using it, it can wheel around underneath, a couch or in a closet or underneath the beds. It also looks really nice. So it has this aluminum frame, and then it has this carbon fiber shell that I really think is a nice touch. It just makes it look really nice and high end. And it not only looks cool, but it's also sturdy and solid, which is definitely what you want, because you can do over 200 exercises on this thing. So you can do everything from squats, deadlifts, planks, presses, lunges, crunches, like all of those types of exercises and more really. And so you definitely want it to be sturdy underneath you, which it definitely is. And the 2 cables that are on either side, that's where you get resistance. So pull them up and you get that resistance, and they're retractable. And the Vitruvian uses magnetic resistance that adapts to you. The cables feel really smooth and strong and secure, when you get lifting. And the Vitruvian lets you lift up to 440 pounds of weight, which is a ton of weight, especially for how small it is. Attaching the different handles and the different accessories is easy once you get the hang of it. They snap into place, and I can actually clip them in and unclip them with one hand. So it's definitely quicker to attach and detach the handles and the different equipment on this than like loading plates on a barbell. Now, unfortunately, most of the accessories are available at an additional price. So the Vitruvian itself is pretty pricey. It's around $3,000, at least the time of filming this. And then there is an entry-level kit of accessories that you can get, as well as a pro kit that has the most amount of accessories. So these are all the accessories with the pro kit, and I have to say that the attachments are, I think, just as nice as the Vitruvian, the platform itself. They're made specifically for the Vitruvian, so you can't use your own. But there are, different handles and the bar, which they're not knurled, but they have this smooth texture that doesn't feel slippery and actually just feels really nice in your hands. And you might have noticed the bench that I'm sitting on. It's unique because the legs are different length. When you have it on the floor, it's either, inclined or declined, but when you put it up on the Vitruvian, it's then flat like this. So it's unique to use with the Vitruvian. There's also the rope handle and a squat belt that can be easily adjusted with the Velcro straps. There's also these safety cables, which is one of the ways that Vitruvian incorporates safety. I'll get into more of how they incorporate safety in a moment, but now let's check out the Vitruvian app. So notably missing from the Vitruvian is a touchscreen. Most smart home gyms and fitness mirrors have a screen that's built in, as do many fitness equipment nowadays, like treadmills, if you watched our other treadmill reviews, and other fitness equipment like exercise bikes. I mostly like that it doesn't come with a touch screen, because I think with one, it definitely wouldn't be as storable as it is. You probably wouldn't be able to put it under a bed when you're done using it. So instead of using a screen, you access the Vitruvian app on your device, so your phone or your tablet. And it's important to know that you can't use the Vitruvian without the app. So you'll need to use your phone or something like that to even use the Vitruvian. Without the app, when you pull the handles, there isn't any resistance and they don't retract. So for those who like an unplugged experience while working out, I'd definitely keep this in mind. And the Vitruvian app does have a subscription membership, but you don't have to subscribe to it in order to use the Vitruvian. Without a subscription, you can still access your own workouts and still create your own workouts. You can access all of the library of exercises, and you can use the different training modes. So if you like to just hop on, do your own thing, and program your own workouts, then you're still able to do this without paying an additional monthly fee, which is really nice. And if you like taking trainer-led content, or if you want extra guidance on how to use the Vitruvian, the membership actually comes in pretty handy. There are pre-made workouts in the app, and these are either led by an instructor or self-paced. You can just follow along with a list of exercises that have a set number of reps or a set time. I don't think the instructor-led classes are quite to the same level as other fitness platforms, but they certainly help. There are different programs that you can take that consist of several classes that you can take over a specific period of time, which is really nice. And there are currently over 300 classes and programs available. And as far as exercises, there are over 200 to choose from. So when you pull one up on the app, there is a person that demonstrates the exercise, and the app will tell you, which handles, which accessories to use. And once you start an exercise, you will do 3 reps with no weight. So during this is where the app will assess your range of motion, so then it can determine when to add and remove some of the weight. And since the Vitruvian uses magnetic weight, it feels different and actually feels a little bit heavier than traditional weights. So there's no way for you to use, momentum like you can with free weights. And if you actually try to use some momentum, I think the Vitruvian can actually feel a little bit jerky. So if you love lifting free weights and traditional weight equipment, the Vitruvian might be a bit of an adjustment. So when you first start using the Vitruvian, the weight actually caps out at a pretty low amount until you take the strength assessment and you start using the Vitruvian more. This is basically a kind of a safety thing to where you can't just go in and put in the 440 pounds of maximum weight. When you take the strength assessment, the app starts with a lighter weight, and then it gradually increases with every rep until you reach your max. And it does this by establishing that range of motion in the first 3 reps with no weight. And then if the app notices, maybe you're moving too fast, or you're pausing for too long, or coming out of the established, range of motion from those first 3 reps, it will then adjust the weight. And if I were to set down the handles in the middle of my set, the lights actually flash red and the weight gets unloaded just as like an extra safety precaution. The lights are actually pretty cool. You can change them to different colors, or you can turn them off. And the Vitruvian will also, increase the weight during certain portions of the rep based on the training mode that you have selected, or decrease it. So the training modes are pretty cool, and they're definitely unique. There's old school mode, which most closely, I think, resembles lifting free weights. You get the same amount of weight, through every rep, and you can perform each exercise kind of as slow or as fast as you want, as long as the motion is controlled. And then there's eccentric only mode, which is where the weight is only applied on the eccentric portion of the exercise. So think when you're squatting, the machine will load the weight at the top, and then when you squat down, so you get more force as you go down into the squat, and then it deloads at the bottom of your squat. So when you come back up, there's less weight. And then there's also pump mode. So with this, you want to think about kind of I like to think about pumping out the reps. Speed is definitely your friend in this mode, and it will help keep the weight loaded. And when you slow down or if you pause at the bottom of the rep, the weight will then decrease. And the weight increases if you pause, at the top of the rep. And finally, the time under tension mode is designed to really maximize your effort throughout the rep. So this one is key to kind of use slow and controlled movements. So if you go too fast, the app will deload the weight. And the weight is loaded like at the top of the motion, and then it deloads just enough at the bottom for you to finish out your rep. And you can also utilize the beast mode in this, in the time under tension mode. So with beast mode, it will load the weight faster and take longer to deload, so you can really maximize your effort and maximize your time, during the working portion of the exercise. So that's really cool. So all these modes, change when and how much you lift throughout each rep and really add a lot of variety to your lifting that you can't necessarily get by lifting free weights. I will say that as far as the app goes, creating your own workout and even just customizing the weight in the workouts and figuring out your amount of reps is a little tedious. You have to scroll through the hundreds of different exercises to pick which ones that you want. And then you go in, you select each mode, and you select the amount of reps or the amount of time. And I definitely recommend creating your workouts ahead of time, especially if you just want to go in and get a quick workout done, just because it can take a good amount of time, especially when you're just getting used to using the Vitruvian and using the app. I'm actually really pleased with how the Vitruvian incorporates safety. So between the safety cables, certain exercises, and the strength assessment that only allows weight that you can handle, and the adaptive weight that unloads when you get out of the range of motion, we really felt safe using the Vitruvian and lifting heavy. All right, so now I'm going to let you see the Vitruvian in action. But first, if you find this video helpful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel. We create content like this for you and reviews so you know exactly what to expect with different fitness equipment like the Vitruvian. I'm gonna do some squats so you can hear it. You can just get a little bit of noise from the cables and also the machine itself, but it's really quiet. So I'm gonna do those first 3 reps, the calibration reps with no weight. So right now the app is just sensing my range of motion. And now it's loading the weight. So, you get that kind of click when you put the handles back down, and you get the noise from the cables. There's also like a little noise from the fan on the inside, but overall it's really quiet. You also might have noticed with the nature of the cables, clipping in and being pulled up from the floor, that you can't do exercises like lat pull downs or pull-ups, but Vitruvians kind of tease this. It's called the V-frame. It is an extra attachment that extends up so you can do things like lat pull downs, seated rows, even weighted pull-ups. Just keep in mind that with this attachment, really doesn't make the Vitruvian as compact and storable as it is just like this. All right, so now I'm gonna have Matt do some bench presses so you can see the bench. And I'm also here, to spot him. Just kidding. We have the safety cables on, so you don't need a spotter when you use the Vitruvian. It's where they incorporate the safety, which is really nice. One thing I forgot to mention is that when you see the weight reflected in the app, so if it's like 50 pounds, that's the weight per cable. So if you have 50 pounds on, you're doing a bench press, that's then 100 pounds. So just keep that in mind. But you ready?
Yep.
All right. So you can do those first 3 calibration reps. Now it's starting to load that weight. And last rep. There we go. So sounds about the same really in every exercise that you do. We did notice that, exercises like bench presses or shoulder presses, The weight can feel a little bit kind of jerkier than the rest of the movements. You might have seen that a little bit here when Matt was doing bench presses. So just keep that in mind, but really, everything feels smooth, and overall, the Vitruvian's really quiet, so it can work in pretty much all spaces. Thanks for watching our review of the Vitruvian Trainer Plus. Overall, this is a really versatile and compact smart home gym that utilizes space really well. It essentially replaces traditional strength equipment and free weights and allows you to lift up to 440 pounds of magnetic weight. When you're done using it, it can be stored under a couch or a bed, and it moves around pretty easily with the built-in handles and the transportation wheels. The accessories are really nice, and they're specifically made for the machine, and the weight adapts to you and what you're capable of lifting, and you can perform hundreds of different workouts and exercises on the Vitruvian. Plus, there are guided workouts and the ability to program your own workouts in the Vitruvian app. Some things to keep in mind is that the Vitruvian is pretty pricey, especially when you add on the handles and the accessories that are sold separately. You also have to use the app on your phone in order to even use the machine, but you don't have to pay for a subscription membership if you don't want to. And I don't recommend the Vitruvian to those who prefer lifting free weights, and if you want like an unplugged experience when you're lifting. The Vitruvian is great, however, if you don't have room in your home for large fitness equipment and you want to be able to lift heavy, and it definitely makes lifting more accessible for more people, especially if you live in an apartment like me. To learn more, head to treadmillreviewguru.com. We have a full written review of the Vitruvian with even more details, and you can click the link in the description for the current price. And if you like this video and find it helpful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel. We have a lot of great content coming your way. I'm Sydney with Treadmill Review Guru. I'll see you next time.